Purpose.
Hello, welcome to Youth of Purpose, a show that is here to give you a platform as a young person to be able to contribute to what happens in Uganda, your country, and make sure that all the affairs of this country you are part. Today we are still continuing with our episode here at MOBS, where the African Union Youth Assembly is holding its first national parliamentary assembly. And young people are here discussing issues to do with SDGs and looking at what the role of us as young people is. Let's have a look at what exactly is taking place here. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. Okay, I'm called Atwine Sabrina, and I'm going to moderate our second panel discussion, which is going to have very knowledgeable panelists that I believe you're going to be excited to learn from and hear from. They will have minutes of sharing their perspectives on the different topics that we've given them. And then after, we shall have to hear from the audience on what they think. Our topic today is, how can we say that sustainable development is nothing but a paradigm shift in the concept of development thinking? In this discussion, we are going to, it was put in place from another generation maybe, or maybe a generation of our ancestors, I don't know. So our panelists are also going to make sure that they point on that. Is Agenda 2030 actually our agenda, or we are just being, led into the wrong direction? One thing we need to note is that sustainable development is often described as a harmonious blend of economic growth, social equity, and environmental preservation, and stands as a profound paradigm in the realm of development thinking. It transcends the traditional notion of progress, challenges us to redefine the very essence of development. And today, as we convene here for this panel discussion, we are going to embark on a journey that explores how true this is. Is it true that sustainable development is actually exceptional when it comes to us discussing socio-economic development, environmental development, political development? Does sustainable development actually play a very big role when it comes to institutional strength, when it comes to youth empowerment, when it comes to all these sectors that contribute to the growth of our country and the globe at large? I will give strictly a minute, because I already introduced them, so they don't have to do much in regards to that. Just for them to say hi to us, we hear what they sound like, and yes, and then we get into our discussion.
Team lead and group CEO. Well, I would say I'm a Ugandan international techpreneur, philanthropist, and an investor. We have largely invested in this ecosystem in terms of mainly technology. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you so much, whoever is behind this.
Okay, thank you so much. I don't know why we start gent, lady. Should have mixed up a little. My name is Roy Rugumayo Kusemererwa. I'm glad to be on this panel. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like the president said, in the Young African Leaders Initiative, which is YALI, where I'm the chairperson. Yes, this is Africa, and Africa is our business, or my business. So I see people have dozed off a bit. This is Africa. Yes, Africa is our business. My name is Faith Myra. Besides leading YALI Uganda, I am a public health specialist. I'm very passionate about sexual reproductive health for young people and adolescents, and also work around gender issues on women empowerment. And I love the previous discussion. I'm looking forward to see how this unfolds and learning from each one on this panel. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Namkose Mariam, and besides being a former Guild president, like Sabrina introduced me, I am the vice president of the African Union Youth Assembly Ugandan chapter, and I also co-found an education initiative And I would also love to say that I am really passionate about the Sustainable Development Goals, and I will be defending them even when people believe that maybe they are not issues that concern us Africans, but rather they are issues to be handled by the whites. Thank you so much.
Already wanted to send this question to you. Can you help us understand briefly what we mean when we talk about sustainable development? Of course, in line with the goals, yeah? I want you to interest the House into understanding the concept of this whole, idea of the United Nations. Is it something that actually brings us together or separates us? Yeah.
Sustainability means that we are going to be able to meet the needs of the present, at the same time we preserve the future of those that are going to come after us. What does that mean? That in everything that we are doing currently, we should do them having in mind that what will the young people that are coming after us going to meet? I would maybe, like you say, that we should relate that to the goals. We have among the Sustainable Development Goals, we have zero poverty, and we have education, we have climate change. Now, if we are looking at, we should do things now as we keep in mind what the future generation is going to have, or we should make sure that the future generation is going to be in position to meet their own needs. Now, what does that mean? If we come to SDG that is talking about climate change, being in position to sustain the environment means that whatever you do as an African, as an American, as any other person in this world, you should do something that will not in one way or the other, destroy the environment. Which means if you do something that will destroy the environment, what is going to happen for the future generation that will come? So we do not want to do things that will ruin. Now, when you look at education, the reason why education is also one of the Sustainable Development Goals is because this is something, we all know that education is the equalizer. This is something that if we do not take education seriously and we educate the younger generation, then they are not going to be able to sustain themselves by the time they grow up. That is what we look at when we are talking about sustainable development. If you're ignoring sustainability, it means that you're focusing on feeding us who are here now and ignoring the fact that the younger generation that is not going to come, will it be able to sustain itself? Will they be able to feed themselves by the time they come? You understand? So that is why it is important that we have sustainable development. So if you look at the different strategies that are put in place by the United Nations to make sure that we meet these sustainable development goals, you would see that these are specific issues that if you internalize them deeply, we are going to be in position to have a longer, like these are things that are going to stay forever, or our young generations that will come will be in position to actually at least restore them and sustain them. You can look at infrastructure. How would it feel if the people now construct roads that are going to last for just 2 to 3 years? Are you considering the younger generation that is going to come? So if you feel like sustainable development is not necessary, then you do not understand the whole ideology of sustainability in this instance. So we are looking at issues where we are going to have these things done to meet the needs of the people now as we consider what the future generation is going to achieve at that time. Thank you so much.
I'm going to send this question to Mr. Roy. Mr. Roy, can you please help us understand how sustainable development goals are actually closely related or interlinked with collaboration and networking, yeah? I'm still going to go back to the conversation from the previous session, which brought an idea of, you see, we are Africans, we have our own problems, we have our own challenges, so therefore we should, be realistic and stay on our own, yeah? But however, when we talk about development, it has a lot to do with collaboration. It has a lot to do with networking with different countries. Because if we want to compete with them as Africa, we therefore need to collaborate with them, learn from them, see how they go about things. So please, let us know, first of all, the urgency of sustainable development goals. Is this something that is urgent for us? And how can we link this to collaboration and networking?
First of all, I don't believe that there is particularity in African problems that have to be handled separate of everyone else. I believe that many of the issues affecting humanity as a whole are similar or interlinked. They only vary in perhaps magnitude or in the strategies that are being employed by the various countries and various stakeholders towards solving them. I also don't believe that the Sustainable Development Goals are a non-African phenomenon. I don't believe issues like hunger, like poverty, like limited access to quality education are not African issues. In fact, I think the sustainable development are more African than Asian. They are more African than European. Also, in the formulation of these, the 17 SDGs, we have 11 African countries out of 30 countries, out of a committee of 30 countries that drafted these sustainable development goals, 11 are African. Egypt, the Moroccos, the Tunisias, Kenya, Tanzania, Zambia, Zimbabwe are all part of the 30-member committee that drafted this. So out of 30, if you have 11, you cannot say these are not your goals, okay? But also, I believe that for us to solve the challenges of now in a way that does not affect those who are coming after us, as Honorable Mariam says, we must have a global agreement on these various issues. Because you see, like Sustainable Development 3, which is health, we all witnessed that a virus that starts in Wuhan in China can have a shop in Fort Portal closed. So it's not an African issue, it's not an Asian issue, it's not an American issue, but a global issue. So when we say that let us carry out mass vaccination, let us carry out teaching that leads us to better living and better health, we cannot then turn around and say that's a non-African issue. Okay? When we speak about education that is technical, that actually gives people skills to harness what nature has presented to them and develop themselves better, but sustainably, we cannot then say that's non-African. When we say that we need to be more vigilant about life underwater, it is very perhaps relevant to countries like Mauritius, to countries like Haiti, or those that live near or just in the middle of the sea. But even us who have Lake Victoria and we are depositing plastics in it every now and then, it's also relevant to us. When we say let's be vigilant about life on land, it's relevant to the Americans who are facing wildfires, as it is relevant to the communities in Kasese that are living around a national park and must interact with lions and must raid their borders with matoke across the national park every now and then. So that interaction matters. Regarding collaboration, SDG number 17 is partnership for the SDGs. It is the makers of these SDGs are very alive to the fact that for any of them to be achieved, we must have collaboration between governments, we must have collaboration between civil society, but also collaboration with young people, with old people, cross-generational collaboration towards attaining all these goals. When this collaboration happens, I think we are headed for better towards achieving less inequalities, towards achieving gender equality, towards achieving good education, good health for the benefit of everyone. I believe that the Sustainable Development Goals are the way to go. They might not be perfect, or we might even have to domesticate them to the particularity of our issues, but they give a good structure framework, a good understanding of the major issues affecting humanity, and if we go well about them, we stand a chance at a better future as a continent and as a world at large.
Yeah, thank you very much. I was starting to give you smiles. We can't give all our content now. We still have many more minutes. Yeah, so now I'm going to go to Miss Faith Myra, yeah? As a person who is already in Yali, which is an organization that is doing amazing in bringing the youth into, you know, socio-economic development and all these others, and the fact that we are here to talk about reality. Could you please tell us some of the policies that are already put in place? Yeah, those that we can look up to and actually give credit to the Sustainable Development Goals. Are there examples, yeah? And if these policies are there, what lessons do we learn from them? And let's avoid staying positive, yeah? Feel free to tell us about the bad things as well, so that when we are engaging the audience, it can actually give us solutions, yeah.
In a country that is highly religious and cultural, which we appreciate, you realize there is so much power that is attached to those two attributes. So that means the Constitution is there, and yet we have gaps to address. However, we have to appreciate that there are certain policies that as a country we have the Maputo Protocol that is speaking to a lot of human rights and issues that affect us in terms of health, in terms of, expressing ourselves, and in terms of actually just developing a country and, realizing our full potential. So you realize we actually accord to that policy as a country, yeah? But there are certain things we feel we may not agree to. And one of the biggest challenges we have is we come up with these policies, we never implement them. I would randomly say, even to say that, okay, I studied at MOBS, I did a Bachelor of Arts in Economics, and to say that even when I was coming from economic perspective, by the time I graduated, I can kid you not, I literally knew probably 1% of the economic policies of this country, yeah? But this is the education system, yeah? We are going to be policymakers, we're educated as economists, we're supposed to make policies. And at the end, we get out of school without knowing them. And to mention, I was very active, I was a debater in school, I did a lot of work. So that means I'm one of those that was a bit exposed. And what is it leaving the young generation? We don't even understand the language in the policy. You go in those policies, if you're not technical enough, you're going to read 1 page, 2 page, you're out. Like, you know what? No way. So I think one of the things that we should do as a beginner, especially the African Union Youth Assembly, one of the biggest tasks that we have to do as a first step is make abridged versions of those policies. When I say abridged, it's simplified, you know. These flyers that we have of a battle between Cindy and Sheba are very good. But can we have a flyer that is speaking about the National Youth Policy? Can we have a flyer that is speaking to the, Agenda 2040 for the country, the National Development Plan 3? These are policies that are out there that are speaking to development, our community transformation. They are speaking to all these various aspects that we are discussing in this room. But I can assure you that if we randomly sampled someone to tell us the objective of the National Development Plan 3, trust me, we may just be looking for embarrassment areas. So at the end of the day, our first stage, we have a starting point. Let's make those policies simplified. We have Twitter Spaces or X Spaces right now. We have a lot of conversations. Can we be more focused? For example, if let's say the African Union Youth Assembly is having a monthly X space that is focusing on a particular policy, to just break it down in the language of young people, in the language of youth, in the language of those that are not very literate, that have not had the exposure at continent level or at that level. That would be a very good point.
When we are looking at the things that led to colonization, we only talk about economic interests, we talk about, culture, we talk about races, color, and all that, but we always forget knowledge-based differences, yeah? We forget that one of the things that actually make countries in the West become superior is that they have a an intentional way of sharing knowledge among their what? Communities, which is something that she has talked about, for us to be able to simplify and make sure that even the youngest person is interested in the policies that, affect the country. Yeah, so thank you very much, Faith Myra, for that. And I would like you to tell us the role of technology in sustainable development, yeah? And then we've been talking about staying realistic, yeah? So don't forget to tell us about the digital divide that we have, eh? Don't tell us how AI is here to make life better, how technology has tools that simplify work. Tell us, how do we all benefit from it? Rural communities, people who are studying from rural areas, they don't benefit the same way as people studying in urban areas. What's there? What are the opportunities? What are the challenges? How can we leverage the power technology has to ensure that we reach sustainable development goals? Over to you.
Sabrina, thank you so much. Well, in regards to what you have asked, I'll go straight to what I know most and what I do best. On the Sustainable Development Goals, Goal 8 and Goal 9, decent work and economic growth, and Goal 9, that is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. The Sustainable Development Goals capture the aspect of innovation and technology. In our ecosystem today, when you look at all the people who are doing innovations, one of the things they ask them, which SDG are you solving? And today, in the innovation space as well, if you have an element of technology in your innovation, in your business, it is very, very scalable and sustainable. Today, the people who have the money, the investors, and whoever wants to put money in your organization or your innovation or startup wants to see that your business or your innovation or your startup is scalable and is sustainable. How can it be scalable? It should be in position to be used beyond your community. And how do you see that you extend what you are doing from the perimeters, of your circles to all over the world, to the global village? That is technology. So the Sustainable Development Goals, clearly capturing it at Goal 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. It clearly, gives us a light to see that whatever we do in terms of technology, innovation, development, we put in the aspect of technology. And here is where the game is to end things of poverty. The guys with the money, as I said, these are things they're looking at today. We managed to grow what we have grown from the boundaries of this country, Uganda, to East Africa, to India, to China, to Australia, because of technology. So I would say that developing in line with the Sustainable Development Goal 8 and 9, I would say you could highly benefit in terms of technology, and you could, once you benefit, there are many things that you will solve. One thing with these SDGs, if you solve one and you fully achieve it, the others will solve them. If I solve Goal 8 and Goal 9, I'll become rich and I end poverty in my circles. You see how the game works?
We are going to welcome Honorable Molly, Secretary General of Muhoozi, who was to be our chief guest. Guys, let's welcome the chief guest. You're welcome.
Yeah, my name is Mukidi Mole. I'm no longer the Secretary General of the MK movement because we are merged and we are going for elections. But when I talked to General Muhoozi, they told me to come and represent him. With me, I have Madame Nora Sendaura. She's the head of Elderly in the MK movement, and Karunji Zubeina. She's a member of the MK movement. Yeah, good afternoon once again. The topic is harnessing the potential of Youth SDGs, a Constitutional Path 2030. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow participants, it is with great pleasure that I stand before you today to discuss a topic of immense importance. The youth population in Africa stands at 226 million as of 2021 statistics. You represent a potent force that holds the key of shaping the future of our world. With the energy, creativity, and passion, you possess the potential to be drivers of change, paving the way for sustainable and prosperous tomorrow. However, this potential cannot be harnessed effectively without a well-structured, inclusive constitutional framework. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by the world leaders in 2015, set forth 17 SDGs aimed at eradicating poverty, ensuring equality, and protecting our planet. To achieve these ambitious goals, the involvement of young people is not just desirable, it is imperative. Another thing, General supports the youth. Right now, I would like to thank His Excellency the President. We have skilling centers. Do you know that in your regions there's a skilling hub? When you go for holidays from university, what do you do in the holidays? Do you just go on TikTok and just enjoy Wi-Fi there? Go to this skilling center, learn a skill, learn tailoring, do anything. Yeah. Otherwise, General wishes you luck. Thank you so much for loving General. Thank you for loving the President.
Well, that's it for today, where we have been featuring the first National Parliamentary Assembly here at MOBS, which has been organized by the African Union Youth Assembly. Basically, they've been focusing on the discussion about SDGs, young people being able to give their opinion on what they think about the 17 SDGs and what our role is as the young people. I thank you so much for watching Youth of Purpose. We are always here to give you a platform as the young people. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
Youth of Purpose.